You need brain envy. You need to love your brain. And that's where brain health starts. What coordination does is it activates your cerebellum. 10% of the brain's volume in the back is half the brain's neurons. And if you activate that, it turns on the rest. If you spent a half an hour twice a week, it'll have a major impact on your ability to think. And that neuron works 10 to 100 times faster. Brain health is three things. Brain envy, got to care about it. Nobody cares about their brain. Why? Because you can't see it.
We don't see it.
You can see the wrinkles in your skin or the fat around your belly, and you can do something when you're unhappy with it.
I also think we're just not taught to care for it. Think about, we know we should eat better and all the like, and we know we can learn things with our brain, but there isn't a broad sense that we can improve our brain health through certain lifestyle choices that we're making.
You need brain envy. You need to love your brain. And that's where brain health starts. It's like, oh, I have this organ that creates me. Let me love it. And then avoid things that hurt it. Just got to know the list. And do things that help it. And again, you just have to know the list. And if we do the Bright Minds, it says what to avoid and what to do.
Yeah, those 11 sort of principles, right, that are built into that acronym.
Yeah, they're everywhere in my head. Like B, for example, is for blood flow. Low blood flow is the number one brain imaging predictor of Alzheimer's disease. So if you have it in your family and I scan you, we're going to look at blood flow and energy. And if it's low, we're going to go, why? Head trauma, is it drugs, alcohol, caffeine, nicotine, not sleeping, having high blood pressure, being overweight. And we're going to target the reasons why it's low. And then we're going to do exercise, increases blood flow. I love exercise. Ginkgo is one of my favorite supplements because the best brains I ever see have taken ginkgo. Oregano, cayenne pepper, beets increase blood flow. So know your risk factor and then know what to do. And the trick with exercise is coordination exercises. People who play racket sports live longer than everybody else. This is a replicated study on like 90,000 people because what coordination does is it activates your cerebellum, little brain. 10% of the brain's volume in the back is half the brain's neurons. And if you activate that, it turns on the rest of your brain. And don't judge yourself. Just go and learn to be good. And don't have to beat people. If you knew a train was going to hit you, wouldn't you at least try to get out of the way? If you spent a half an hour twice a week, it'll have a major impact on your ability to think. Your brain is 2% of your body's weight, but uses 20% of the blood flow in your body. 20% of the oxygen in your body goes to your brain. And is neurohormones, get them tested every year. We're living in a society where low testosterone levels are rampant in young males. And I've just never seen anything quite like it. They're very important numbers to know. 72% of Americans are overweight, 42% are obese. It's the biggest brain drain in the history of the world. I published 3 studies that say as your weight goes up, the size and function of your brain goes down. And I learned that connection. 2009, Cyrus Raji from the University of Pittsburgh published an MRI study that if you're overweight, you have 4% less volume in your brain, and your brain looks 8 years older than healthy people. If you're obese, you have 8% less volume in your brain, and your brain looks 16 years older. And I have a normal database of scans, healthy weight versus overweight or obese, significantly less blood flow. And then I did an NFL study, healthy weight NFL players versus overweight NFL players, low frontal lobe function. And I'm like, oh no, it's just science, right? I'm just making the connection. If you are overweight, of these 11 risk factors, you have 7 of them because it decreases blood flow, promotes aging, increases inflammation, changes healthy testosterone into unhealthy cancer-promoting forms of estrogen, and you gotta get serious.
The difference is between people who are able to absorb information and then make a change in their life versus people who absorb the same information and either choose not to or struggle to make that change or struggle to make that change last or sustain. Because if you have low self-esteem, if you are somebody who is of a negative disposition or just see the world through the lens of lack as opposed to opportunity, those people, I would suspect, are more difficult cases in terms of trying to get them excited about the possibility. If you don't love yourself, it's pretty hard to get that person to invest in healthier lifestyle habits.
You really need to understand normal development. Your prefrontal cortex, so the front third of your brain, largest in humans and any other animal by far, is not fully myelinated until you're about 25. And so we think of 18-year-olds as adults. It's ridiculous from a neuroscience standpoint. And the insurance industry actually knew this way before neuroscientists knew it. When do your insurance rates change? When you're 25. They go down significantly because you make better decisions because you have more myelinated frontal lobes. Myelinization is really important. So myelinization, think of a copper wire or a neuron, a brain cell. Myelinization is it gets wrapped with a white, fatty substance, sort of like insulation on a copper wire. And that neuron works 10 to 100 times faster. And so your prefrontal cortex, the most human thoughtful part of you, is not fully myelinated till you're about 25. And so it's undergoing wild development from 14 to 25, yet that's when many parents abdicate their role and like send kids off even though they're really not mature enough to go hang out with a bunch of other unmyelinated brains that join sororities and fraternities, and all sorts of bad things happen to kids then. I think we need to have supervision in a way, not that's intrusive, but it's like, I'm watching. I want to know where you are. I want to know when you're coming home. And kids hate it. But you know what? They hate it more if you don't do it, because that means you don't care.
Some portion, probably a large portion of the depression, the suicidal ideation, etc., that's on the rise, particularly with teenage girls, is a result of, on some level, social media, the comparison that takes place, the 24/7 access to what your peer group is doing at all times, the bullying and criticism that occurs there.
What social media leads to is a toxic level of it's about me. And I think you should limit it, because the vices in social media and video games, they dump dopamine. They were purposefully created to addict you. They use the same principles that Las Vegas uses to win money in gambling, which is intermittent reinforcement. We're not going to reinforce you all the time. We're going to do it every so often, and it dumps dopamine. So what does that mean? So you have two pleasure centers in your brain. They're called the nucleus accumbens, part of the basal ganglia. And when you get excited about something, it produces a little bit of dopamine, pushes on the pleasure center. But the more you push on it, the harder you push on it. Think about these violent video games. Pretty soon, nucleus accumbens becomes numb, and you need more and more to get the same effect. So you had addiction, right? You struggled with an addiction. Toward the end of the addiction, you were not getting that effect that you did in the beginning, right? Because your pleasure centers had been worn out. We're wearing them out earlier than ever before. And I think that's one of the big reasons for the escalating incidence of depression. I teach a high school course called Brain Thrive by 25. We've done it for 15 years. It's been like on 7 different countries, all 50 states. And what I found is the going idea about teenagers is parents have lost influence and their friends are more important and they won't listen is wrong. If you are bonded to them, they listen. You have to explain it to them and give them reasons why these companies use neuroscientists to addict your brains and steal your mind. These vaping companies, they are making money off of your early death. So you have to educate them and get them angry at what I call the evil ruler, right? If I was an evil ruler and I wanted to create mental illness, what would I do? I'd create vaping devices and go, this is a healthy form of smoking. Or I'd make them think marijuana's innocuous, because clearly it is. Or I'd give them a device that's clearly addictive and has all sorts of side effects and go, well, have fun with this, and other people your age are doing it, so it's probably okay. When you educate them, like my 20-year-old, she knows the time of day that she's on her social media sites, and she limits it. And now she's doing this thing is, how much sleep can I get, right? And she finds, I do better with 9.5 hours than I do with 8 hours. I was like, well, how smart is that she's tracking it, right? So she uses devices, an Oura Ring, to track it. It's because she understands. So rather than do this, don't do that, that's not helpful. It's relationship. And then this is your brain. How can you take care of your brain? And that's what we do with Brain Thrive by 25. Here are some of the tiny habits for brain health. Start every day with today is going to be a great day. Push your brain to look for what's right rather than what's wrong. As you go through the day, this is our big mother tiny habit. Go, is this good for your brain or bad for it? So I used to do that with Chloe. We played a game. We called it Chloe's game. I'm like, blueberries, good for your brain or bad for it? 2 thumbs up. Avocados, 2 thumbs up. God's butter. Hitting a soccer ball with your head. Oh, no, 2 thumbs down. Your brain is soft, your skull is hard. Play the game with them. Whatever they're going to do, good for your brain or bad for it. I mean, ask yourself, is this good for my brain or bad for it? You just have to know the science. My favorite tiny habit. It's actually not so tiny, but it's so good. When you go to bed at night, I say a prayer, and then I go, well, went well today. And it's not like just writing down 3 things you're grateful for. I go hour by hour looking for what I liked about the day, what made me happy, even the tiniest things. We have this health challenge at home with my mother-in-law. It's public knowledge. And just walking up the stairs, I grabbed my wife's hand. And that made the highlight reel because it was just this really tender moment in a hard time. If you do that, the research shows your level of happiness will increase in just 3 weeks. And when you go to pick something to eat or to drink, ask yourself, do I love it and does it love me back? You're in a relationship with food and with the things you consume. It's like, oh, but I love wine. But does it love you back? We didn't talk about alcohol. It doesn't love you back, right? It damages the microbiome in your mouth and in your gut. It'd be a bad thing.
Beautiful. I love that practice. It's similar to a gratitude practice, but the paying attention to the little things that happen every day and those little things then becoming the big things that drive happiness.
I did that the night my dad died 3.5 years ago. One of the worst days of my life. And I'm like, really? We're going to do this tonight? But this is a very important point. Your brain is lazy. What you do, what you teach it to do, is what it's just going to do automatically. So because I've done that for a decade, even on an awful day, I found these 3 moments that were just so tender and beautiful that put me to sleep. And it didn't mean I didn't grieve. I still do. But it means I'm managing my mind rather than letting it manage itself.
Do you think that a fundamentally negative or pessimistic person can transform themselves into an optimist?
I don't know about an optimist, but they certainly can transform themselves to be more of a realist. And it's about what's true. And too many people have the negative side of what's true and completely ignore the positive side of what's true. Like, my wife never listens to me. I've had that thought. Write it down. And then go, is that true? It's absolutely true. How does that thought make me feel? Awful. How would I be without the thought? I'd be just fine. Then take the original thought and turn it to the opposite. She does listen to me. And in fact, she does. Not all the time. But if I'm focused on what's wrong, I'm going to feel wrong. If I'm focused on what's right, I'm going to be so much happier. This thing got like 12 million views on Instagram. I have the rule of 12, which is if I'm going to do something important, film a public television special, write a book, go on a trip, shit happens. Stuff is going to go wrong. Just own it. A mentally strong person can roll with things, not roll over, but they can roll with whatever comes your way. Not roll over because I don't want people taking advantage of you, but learning that mental flexibility. And that comes with practice. It's not the thoughts you have that make you suffer. It's the thoughts you attach to. And I have to treat me like I would want other people to treat me. So many of my patients, when I first see them, if they treated their friends the way they treated themselves, they would have no friends. They're so mean, but sort of like a good coach. Am I noticing what's right and am I learning? And we've come to, we win or we learn, win or we learn. And that's what I want all my patients to do. Have a good day, we win. If not, we learn. Whatever we see is good news because you have what you have. And if it's awesome because you've done so many awesome things, we celebrate. And if it's not, we rehabilitate.
Most of you might not have completely understood how to change your brain. Watch this video and it will teach you how to reprogram your brain completely.